Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. How are we all feeling today?
Great. Good.
Okay, so talk me through the beginning process of Get a Real Job. How did the idea come about? How did you guys even get it off the ground? Whoever wants to start can start.
Yeah, my partner worked this job for 5 years, and I lived in a townhouse with his roommates during the pandemic, which was capital T trauma. But I did, through that, listening to their stories, I did kind of start feeling like this could be a really good show. And my partner has always thought that. And so we started writing it together about 4 years ago and kind of just sat in a box for a while. And then I started going to these like filmmakers parties and kind of pitching it around and seeing if people would be interested in something like this. And that felt really positive. And then I kind of re-met Yogi at a dog park, and he also similarly expressed that he wanted film projects like this.
That's where I'm re-met Yogi.
We all met Yogi at a dog park.
And park Yogi.
And I asked Yogi to be a part of it, and we had a studio meeting shortly after that went pretty well. They didn't like the original script, but that was okay because we both felt like they liked the idea enough where we could like rewrite it, kind of adjust it, and then do a little bit more. And then that's kind of how we started filming this.
Yeah, in that meeting, James was brought up as a guy who represents New York in many ways. There's a joke that Adomian had that I think he told me was attributed to Trevor, but about what New York is. James, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, Trevor Moore said this to me. This was his joke, and I probably repeated it. The late great Trevor Moore said that he would have a big grin on his face, and he would be like, "Yeah, I heard they're about to be done building New York next year. They're almost done. They're almost finished making New York because of all the construction you always see."
And so like I knew James from doing stand-up both in Seattle and in New York. And so when it came for us to do this project and get a character who could play Lorenzo, the manager of the fundraisers, James was the only option that I wanted on board.
Yeah, and I brought Donald onto this project because Donald has taught me improv for many years, and I think he's a great actor. And I was like, I can't imagine anybody more perfect to be a sulkin actor to be on a TV show.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that's the energy I put out. Thank you so much.
That's not
Yes, it means a lot. Thank you so much for the consideration so early on. I should have asked for more. I really needed the work. Thank you so much.
Well, I was going to ask you both, James and Donald, when you guys first were approached by these two, what was your first reaction when they were telling you, basically pitching you this idea?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's generally how it goes. Yogi was like, "Hey, you want to come to New York and do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I haven't been to New York in a while. I had been once in, I think, 2021 at the tail end of the lockdowns in late 2021, and before that, it had been a couple years." And then I had not been there since that one time, and I was like, I've been thinking I'm overdue for New York. I used to go all the time. And so it was a great excuse to go to New York, good get to see Yogi, and the idea was funny. So I like going to New York for funny reasons and not like court summonses.
A good way to put it. And I agree, although I already live here, so it was an even easier decision for me. I'm here. I don't have to go anywhere. I literally just need to show up like not too far from my home. So that was great. Having worked with Sam before, I'm like, I know passion and creative. Literally having visited your home before, I was like, okay, this is a place where art is made. So I was like, okay. And then like, yeah, it was pretty easy to just be like, yeah, I'll do a thing. Why not? And it, I think as an artist too, it's like you're just constantly saying yes to a lot of things because you're like, why not? Let's try this thing. Let's do more stuff. Let's work with new people. So that was awesome. And then I also was just like, okay, yeah, it's just a fun little project for a weekend. And then I don't know, I didn't expect how big it was actually until maybe I showed up and you started telling me more about it and what's happening and just filming this. I'm like, whoa, okay, all right, cool.
Did he send the team of masked guys in robes in the middle of the night to your place too to run lines?
It was actually early in the morning, but yeah, similar. So yeah.
They saw James first and then flew back for Donald. So they took the red eye to take care of Donald the next day.
Mhm. Yeah, they did seem tired. I had to make them coffee.
They-
I was gonna say, because it is shot in New York. New York in itself is a character. So what difficulties for all of you guys did you find shooting in New York?
Oh man, well, I remember that first day just completely got rained out. That's not New
Yeah.
York's fault. That was the rain's fault. But then the second day we were like, all right, let's figure out all these airs that we were supposed to figure out yesterday right now. And we were filming in Zuccotti Park, which I thought was a public park, and I guess it's not. And about maybe like 2-ish hours in, we started having security guards coming over to us and being like, you guys need to get out of here. And so as we were kind of managing the security guards, and our AD like walked away with one security guard, and I think Yogi walked away with the security guard at one point, like I was just like filming while they were inside with the security guards being like, let's get this while they're gone, and then we'll leave. So that was like probably one of the biggest and more main challenges we faced, and it was nice that it was like pretty early on in the project.
Yeah, that was pretty, like, it was the first day, so there was a lot of like, we're going to get these shots energy. But then I think the second weekend, the first thing we did was in Washington Square Park, and we were there pretty early filming. But then we had a marathon crew show up, like about 200 to 300 marathoners were there, and they're not quiet. They're there to run. They're there to be running soon, so they need to get their energy out. Yeah, so it was a lot of puppy dog energy of like, please quiet, we're trying to make something here, please. But we have some cutting room floor footage of one of the cast members trying to canvas people jogging, which isn't in the show yet, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy because like I think we both ran into the amount of problems we expected, but then also there was hurdles here and there. There was a lot of hey, can you be an extra in this scene? We'll give you $20. There's a lot of that occurred, and everyone's camera ready in New York, so that worked out well.
I wish we had thought of that during Occupy Wall Street, Samantha, for Zuccotti Park, where Occupy Wall Street was. If we had just simply walked the police and security out of the park, that would have solved a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I remember when we filmed with James, we filmed at a location not too far in Manhattan, and they were doing some model auditions like right after us. So after
That's right.
We were filming, like, just slowly the most beautiful people in the world are just all lined up in pure like, I'm going to get this job attire. And so we were filming a door next to it for one outdoor scene, the intro of the show, and people kept being like, well, clearly this is my door as the
They were like, there's a camera here that this is where the movie is.
And I went from like, wow, look at all these beautiful models, to like, they don't even know where the door is. Like, it just the dichotomy was so funny.
They thought audition, oh, camera, that must be it.
Yep.
And they were a type. They all looked not exactly the same, but you were like, oh, they're casting for one person. I didn't know they had to bring in 200 people.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So in the span of one shoot, essentially, you got 200 plus marathon runners, and then now you have the other side of the spectrum of having, the 100 or whatever some odd models. Like, did you guys find yourself as you were shooting just saying to yourself over, like, finding just inspiration? Like I said, it's New York, so you're finding inspiration here, being like, we should include this in this, or wait, let's think about this for maybe a next project.
Yeah, there were definitely some of those moments. I remember when we were filming the chess scene with you, Donald,
Yeah, I was
there were other chess masters behind us being like, what are they filming? And a few of them came up and talked to us at some point, and I remember Chris started pulling from their characters to add it into our thing, which was really, really funny.
Yeah, they each had their own full
Yeah.
life stories to share. Every time I'm filmed in New York, I feel like there's always somebody who's going to come and be like, "You need to film me." Obviously, sometimes it's like, "You're a crazy person. Please, I don't want to make you upset, but we don't have time for this interaction." But also, every time they open their mouths, I'm like, "I do want this movie. I would love to listen to you all day. It is just because we have a limited time." But yeah, every time someone came up, it was like, these are people are great, and also they're always surprising. Like I'm always on edge because I'm like, I never know how to interact with somebody that's like while we're busy doing work, and I never want to be rude. But they're always like very understanding after you just talk to them. As long as you don't just ignore them or like insult them, they're just like, oh yeah, totally cool. I'll wait here. I'm like, how did you learn? Um, I don't know, on set etiquette, just being like a New Yorker. But
Right.
like New Yorkers, no.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that like would happen because we filmed on the weekends, and so there was less things that we could add into the scenes, but stuff like there's always a few lines before the scene started that we let characters improv. And so one of the ones that Sam and I did was I went to a movie and they had a Q&A and during the Q&A I saw people in black setting the stuff up before and after the movie basically, right? And I don't know why the movie was about like what happened in Afghanistan. It was a very serious movie, but in the entire movie all I kept thinking about was there should be something called Tech the Musical, where it's like one like the last two lines of a scene and then just the tech going on. And people in New York would be like, oh my goodness, this is insane. So on one of the scenes Sam and I do, we talk about how badly we want to go to Tech the Musical and how exciting that would be. So there's things like that that depending
The
on what
first 5 takes though, Yogi did make me cry laughing. He kept mentioning Tech the Musical, and our AD was like, Sam, you need to stop. It was so funny though.
Well, did you guys, because you said every person, when you do film or like a series like this, they want to be like, well, film me. I have this story to tell too. And so like Donald, for your case with the chess masters, did a little piece of you while you were filming be like, God, I really hope they're not judging me too hard for this scene right now.
Oh, I mean, I didn't have to worry about it. They outright told me they're just like, "That's wrong. That's wrong. That's not a chess move. It's a bad chess move." I was like, "Okay, all right, man." So I think there were some times where either Sam or Yogi were just like, "Don't worry, we're just not going to film the chess pieces because that's too much to have to worry about while you improvise with Chris." And I was like, thank you for that." But they would also still like, "You should start off this way," and they'd give me like the starting positions because they know all the moves. And I was like, all right, I'll trust you, but I also don't know where to go from there. So yeah, it happens all the time. Yes.
Well, guys, for my final question, what was your biggest takeaway from this project?
Always be stopping.
Man, making a really high quality project with a bunch of your friends and like improvisers that you really admire to work with is so much fun. Like I had so much fun at every stage of this, even though it was probably like it was very stressful, but at the same time it's like it's not something I've not navigated before since I work in the industry, but it was like way more fun than anything I had done before.
It was fun, and you set the tone from the top of the shoot. I have to say, both of you guys.
Yeah, I don't know. Making it every step has felt easier than the last. Like when we were writing it, it was like this is hard. How do we do all these scenes? And then when we filmed it, it was like, man, writing it wasn't that bad. And then now in this process of getting people to watch it and talk to press and do interviews and stuff, it's like, man, it's hard. So it's just been nice to be like every step of this is hard until it's over, and then you look back and go, I want to do that some more. I've had a lot of fun in making this, as it's been both a combination of the things I've learned living in New York for the last 10 years, and also just being able to collaborate with people who I respect and admire their talents has been really, really great.
Yeah, I think watching you two put this, I mean, just get this done it's very inspiring. Like you said, just get it done. There's no way to just keep judging it or like try and make it perfect or anything like that. It's learning along the way and just seeing like, cool, worst comes to worst, at the end you're like, great, I know what to do next time. But also you got a finished product with people that are fucking happy that they got to work with you.
Yeah, this is inspiring to me too, because I get told or shown that, oh, you're not allowed to make anything, over and over and over again for decades now that I've been in my career. And no, you're not allowed to do that. No, and it's impossible. You need investors, and you don't have the permits, and you can't do it. Of course you can't do it. We said that you're not allowed to do it, and the memo has gone out, and then you guys just do it. I always like when I see that. So thanks for bringing me in, even just to see it, let alone be in it.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, thank you all so much. You know what I love about it is, like, there are times where we're worried that, like, oh, if we showed it to someone, they could like steal the show because it's, you know, it's just canvassers in New York, right? And yet then I have to remind myself, but also Sam and I've talked so much about, like, yeah, you can, but you can't steal microaggressions. You can't steal like the stupidest, like Donald saying he stole a cat in the beginning of the scene where he gets a job as an actor. Like, there's so many stupid nuances in this thing that are from our own life. Like the scene where I have the sisters, all the things that they mention are things that happened to me in my life. I shaved all my arm hair to impress a girl. I gave myself a mohawk. I like all that stuff is my life. And so in terms of what James was talking about like being told you can't do things, we were very, very we tried really hard to put ourselves in it as much as possible, because it's you could steal the idea, but the concept of the show is us in it, and that is something that has really been gratifying to see.
Yeah, I really second that. I mean, right up to the credits, all the footage in the credits is like footage from my partner's time when he worked there and his coworkers working the job. So that is all like very real stuff that people can't actually steal because they don't have it.
Also, I think at the end of the day, which you guys have created is something relatable. So when people say you can't do that, you're like, no, we can, because it is relatable. This is what everybody at some point in their life has either had happen to them or done. And like I said, that really comes across with this. So I think you guys really, really nailed it on the head.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So thanks, guys. Thanks for speaking with me today.
Of course.
Yeah,
Thank you.